So we've been servicing this car for a long time, and it finally broke the radiator. You know, the plastic radiator finally cracked, and then it started to overheat. And so anybody who knows anything about these cars knows that like bleeding them is a complete pain. So we like to use our Lisle funnel. It's kind of hard to see, but it's over there. We do recommend you getting one of those, but the Lisle funnel is not the magic fix-all. You can put the funnel on and it still will not bleed. So what I'm going to explain is the process that we do it here. So the first things first is actually just to top off coolant normally without using the funnel. There is a bleed screw on the passenger side there, and you can Google that. You know, the bleed screw is not like anything special, but it is there. So you open up the bleed screw back there and you slowly add coolant through the radiator, and you just kind of let it burp out. So you keep adding until it starts to come out of the bleed screw. And just because it starts coming out of the bleed screw does not mean that it's like completely bled anyways. So and there are times where you will fill it up and nothing will come out of the bleed screw. So if you have the problem where it does not come out of the bleed screw, believe it or not, the fastest way to rectify it is to close the bleed screw, close the radiator cap, start it up, let it run for a minute, then shut it back off, let it come back down to where it's cool again, and then crack it open and then fill it up again. And then at that point, you know, you may have to do that a couple times, you know, and what you're doing is you're starting the car to let the water pump circulate a little bit and get that done. So once you get to the point where you get most of the air bubbles out of the bleed screw, close the bleed screw, put the Lisle funnel on, start the car. And this is where people, I think, mess up the most. So put the temperature on max hot, but what you're going to do is on the blower motor, put it on the lowest setting, right? And then literally just start revving it. Like, you're gonna wanna rev it a couple times like this, and you can see the coolant moving around in there already. And you know, you're gonna wanna hold it, you know, 2000 RPMs, and you'll see the coolant level go up and down. So what I like to do is I will fill up coolant to the very bottom of the cone shape. And then at that point, just sit there and hold it. What's gonna happen is as air works its way out, it will actually raise, and sometimes it'll actually go all the way to the top of the funnel. And once you get close, you wanna stop and let it pull it back down and rinse and repeat. Now you're gonna be doing this for a while, but how do you know that it's fully bled? Well, that's real simple. The easiest way that I have found, and the most consistent way, is just to turn the heat up and put your hand on, and if it feels like it's going to burn you, it's bled. So I've got the temp up. It's warm, but it's not hot enough. So it doesn't feel like it's going to quite burn me yet. So I'm going to just basically, and I haven't added any coolant to this, mind you, okay? This is actually just what's in there, and you can actually still see that the air bubbles are coming up. So we're gonna give this a couple of revs here until we run out of air bubbles, and then hopefully by then the temperature will be hot where it's gonna burn us. So we're gonna bring the blower motor back down, and then we're just gonna hold the RPMs, 3,500 or so, you know, rev it up a couple times, and then rinse and repeat until it's done. All right, so I'm pretty sure this is fully bled out. One sign of that is that, as you can see, I'm revving it up, and obviously water is coming up, but there are no air bubbles coming out when I rev it. Secondly, even on the blower on low, it's like really hot. I mean, it's 37 degrees according to this temperature gauge, but like this right here feels like it's going to burn my hand, and that's on still low blower motor. So on low speed, I mean, it's already hot, and on high speed now, that definitely feels like, oh yeah, that's too hot to even hold there. And the temperature gauge obviously is like right below half. That's where these cars are supposed to be. So this thing is fully bled. Like I said, revving it up causes no bubbles into the Lisle funnel, and the heater's hot as hell, and it's not coming back down to idle. It's still relatively hot. It's not going to be as hot, but it's still hot. So we know this thing is bled. We're gonna let it cool down.